particularly about how money is seen in Japan versus in the United States.
Hey there! こんにちは、アーサーです。今回の動画では、あなたの英語のリスニングを鍛えるためのネイティブ同士の会話をお届けしたいと思います。初めての方は、Welcome to the channel! アーサーと申します。僕がこのチャンネルを作ったのは、より多くの方が英語を学ぶだけではなく、生の世界で実際に使える英語力を身につけて、世界の人々と交流していただきたいからです。で、レッスンで使える英語力ではなく、生の世界で実際に使える英語力を身につける鍵は、学習のためのコンテンツではなく、コミュニケーション、意思疎通のためのコンテンツを使うことです。そのため、学習のために作られた会話ではなく、僕とアメリカ人の友達のオースティンとの本当に生の会話を The Austin and Arthur Show という別の YouTube チャンネルでお届けしています。ただ、そのチャンネルでは字幕がなくてちょっとハードルが高いですね。そこで定期的に字幕付きの動画をこちらのチャンネルでシェアしています。で、今回の会話はちょっと長くなるので15分ずつ分けて3本の動画を同時に公開することになりました。で、会話を最初から最後まで一気に楽しみたい方のために4本目として公開しました。で、最後に見るのがおすすめですが、すぐに見たい方はぜひこちらをクリックしてください。また、今回の会話の他の動画はこの動画の下にある概要欄からアクセスできます。また最後にですね、今回の会話はもともと The Austin and Arthur Show という別のチャンネルで放送されたものですね。字幕がないのでちょっとハードルが高いですが、それでもいろんな話が聞きたい場合は、ぜひ The Austin and Arthur Show という YouTube チャンネルをご覧ください。And now finally, let's get started.
But what's our main topic for today?
Money. And
Money.
Yeah, I always think of ABBA. Money.
So
it's funny.
So the first thing we need to talk about first is what's the hand signal for money in America? This, right?
Yeah.
And in Japan? This. And what does this mean in America?
Okay.
Okay, or it can mean asshole. Okay?
Yeah, but at least where I'm from, you never see.
Really?
You never see.
Because when I was in school, people would do this as like a joke because it's a, you know.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I mean, when you wanted to be offensive and you just give them the finger.
Yeah, that's true. Thanks, man. Anyways, so we're going to be talking about money, particularly about how money is seen in Japan versus in the United States.
Yeah. You know, it's kind of funny. I think I want to start this off with talking about a stereotype that I think a lot of Japanese people hold for specifically Americans when it comes to money. They think that Americans don't care about money and are not responsible
With money.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and how do you feel about that? What's the truth of that?
So I think, I mean, I definitely feel like I can understand where that's coming from. I mean, I don't think it's true, first of all, but I think I can understand where they would get that because I think the type of person moving to Japan from America, I think doesn't follow the traditional like immigrant persona.
Okay.
Right. And what do I mean by that? So let's talk about a person coming to America, like from another country. Usually they're coming there for the purpose of building a better life. They're coming from nothing and they're trying to make themselves. Well, specifically a lot of Americans moving here are not struggling financially. They're not struggling. They're not trying to necessarily build a better life by coming to Japan. They're coming here for the experience.
Yeah.
So when a lot of Americans come over here, they spend money very frivolously on a lot of stuff. Like, oh, you know, I'm going on this trip. I'm going partying every weekend. I'm going and having fun. I'm spending all my money. Oh, I'm broke. That's okay. Like it's very much like kind of very carefree attitude. And I think that from a Japanese perspective, they tend to look at Americans like, dude, what? Do you guys just not save money?
Yeah.
Like, do you not care about money?
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I would say I feel like the way that people think about money is fundamentally different, and I think in Japan it's more it's more common for people to save money. And in the States, it's more common for people to use money. And by use, I don't necessarily mean spend. That also includes investing.
Yeah.
And up until recently, there hasn't been much investing in Japan.
Yeah.
Now it's starting to pick up with the NISA and everything.
Yeah.
Which, dude, I'm telling you, if you haven't done it, even just $50 a month, $100 a month, it makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
After a few years. But one way that this really kind of hit me is with credit cards.
Yes.
When I came to Japan and I got my first credit card, I hated it. Well, I still actually hate credit cards here, but
yeah,
because sorry, I'm going to sneeze.
Okay.
No, so like how do American credit cards work normally?
Well, normally I don't know how they work normally. I'm just going to describe how American credit cards work. So how Americans view credit cards is we're trying to build up our line of credit, which a line of credit is basically you have this like number rating that you're given by a bank, and basically the higher number, the better access to loans.
Yeah, it's
for
like your
housing.
reputation.
Yeah, it's like your financial reputation,
Yeah.
right? And so we're taught this from a very young age that you should get a credit card as soon as you're 18 and responsibly spend it every month.
Yeah. Do you know what your credit score is?
No, I haven't looked in years.
Okay.
Like I haven't had any reason to ever need
Yeah,
one.
right. I still look at my credit score
Do you?
just because it's still ingrained in
I'm
me.
sure my credit is terrible.
Yeah. I mean, well, if you don't use it at all, then you
Yeah.
have zero credit. You have zero
it's
credit
probably
score, you know?
zero then.
Yeah.
But I've always been really against, personally,
Yeah.
I've never wanted credit cards because
Yeah.
I don't trust myself.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Like-
And also, I would say American credit cards are especially dangerous because in America, the way that most credit cards work is you have a spending limit. Let's say it's $5,000.
Yep.
And you can use that card as much as you want up until you get to that limit. And then at the end, when it turns into a new month, you have a balance.
Yeah.
And for most American credit cards, they offer you to either pay the minimum balance, the minimum payment, the whole balance, or you can set your payment in between.
Yeah.
But most credit cards in Japan, you have to pay the balance off.
Yep.
Every time. You have to pay it off. Otherwise, you're going to get a fee, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I found out that actually the original credit cards in the United States, the Diners Club cards, worked that way too.
Oh,
and it was only Visa that kind of changed the system.
Okay.
And the American credit card system is much more for people who are looking to invest or to maybe get into debt for something in the future, whereas the Japanese credit card system is much more for, I want to save. Like I'm not actually going to build up debt. I'm going to get rid of it every month, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I think even like you can even kind of go into like credit card culture, like with the United States and Japan. So nowadays, America is predominantly considered a cashless society.
Yeah.
You can go to the middle of America and like some small podunk town, and I guarantee you, basically anywhere you go will at the very minimum have a credit card reader, right? Most places will have different forms of currency that you can use, and in fact, it's actually fairly common at this point to run into places that don't accept cash. Right?
Yeah, they you can't even pay with cash.
Yes. Yeah, they will not accept cash. That's actually like becoming fairly common at this point. Whereas in Japan, it's the complete opposite. It's improved over the past couple years, but like even like 10 years ago, like it was really hard to go to restaurants and pay with card.
Yeah.
Like you could go to a high-end restaurant or just like a really popular restaurant in the middle of Tokyo, and they would say, sorry, we only accept cash.
Yeah, right.
Right?
Yeah. And like you said, it is changing now, but still it's more like that. What I find interesting though is I see more and more stores that say we don't accept credit card, but we accept denshi money. We accept e-money, right?
Yeah.
And in my mind, I'm thinking they both must have fees. Like, why are you
right?
choosing one instead of the other?
It's so crazy to me.
If anyone knows the answer to that, please let me know, because this is one of things I'm thinking about.
Yeah.
But thinking about also how people spend money and how people think about money. And
Yeah.
I'm sure, this is a huge general brush we're painting with, because you have different socioeconomic levels, and inside everyone thinks about money
Yeah.
differently. But I would say that in Japan, in the US too, people are concerned about low prices and get something if it's cheap.
Yeah.
But I feel like in Japan, people are much more unabashed about, oh, it's cheap, so I'm going to get it. Like that's like, I feel like in the States, it's like, oh, it's cheap, but I want it because it's cheap. Maybe I shouldn't get it, but I'm going to get it anyways. Whereas in Japan, it's like cheap, getting it.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, and I think that my opinion, I feel like that kind of comes from like post-war Japan. Like the 50s and 60s, where it's like people just didn't have much access to resources, so you kind of just like, if you saw a good deal on something, you picked it up even if you didn't need it right now, because you'll need it in the future. And that's you definitely see that mentality if you visit a lot of people's homes here, where they have like these hoarder mentalities, where it's like their house is just packed with stuff.
Yeah.
Right? And you don't really see that in the US.
Yeah. I mean, so there are hoarders in the United States that keep on buying stuff, but that's normally a sign of mental illness.
Yeah, it's not depression. It's not like a cultural thing.
Yeah, whereas here it's much more cultural. Yeah. And another thing that kind of I wanted to talk about today about this topic is people's obsession with points.
Oh yeah, they're like, it's like points cards are a thing here.
Yeah.
And like people are very like into them.
Yeah, like so I'm not trying to talk down on my wife, because these are just simply value differences, but just the amount of time she spends focusing on points. I need to get points. I'm trying to get points. Hey Arthur, did you use this coupon? Because you can get 0.5% more points. Yeah. I'm going to get all these points. Like so much of the day is spent about, well, not so much recently, but for a long time, so much was focused on, let's get these points. And in Japan too, it's something that doesn't, I don't understand this, because in the United States, they have point systems too, but it's always tied to your credit card. So when you pay, you get points because you spent money. But in Japan, like with the T card, the Tsutaya card, the T card, you can go to a place, you can scan your card, pay with cash, you still get points. Yeah. It's like, what is that? I don't understand that.
Dude, I don't get it either, man. It's really crazy, but people are like really into it here.
Yeah.
And the thing that really blows my mind about this is how many different kinds of points cards there are here.
Yeah.
Like with the US, it's like you kind of mentioned it with like, they're mostly tied to credit cards.
Yeah.
So,
and so it's not like the store will give you points.
Yeah.
The card will give you points.
Yeah. And so like that's like the main avenue with it. But like here in Japan, it's like, dude, it's not uncommon to have like 6 or 8 different cards.
Yeah.
Like for different places that you go to.
Yeah. Well, it's like when I went to like McDonald's the other day or something, like they said, point card mochi desu ka? And I looked down and they had the D point, R point, and the EDY points or something like that. I don't even know. Is that Rakuten? No, that's not Rakuten. I don't know what that is. But it's just like these things, and it's like, okay, so we're gathering these points, but what I'm thinking in my mind is you're gathering all these points.
Yeah.
But they're spread so thin amongst all these cards. It's like I have $5 here and $5 there. Like I would rather have $10 on one card than $5 here and $5 there.
That's fair.
What's it like at your house?
I would say my wife and I tend to buy most of our stuff online.
Okay.
I don't think either of us really go out shopping all that much. The only exceptions, like if we're going and getting stuff for my daughter, we'll go to like Akachan Hompo. Yeah. And so we have a points card for that, right? Yeah. But like most of the stuff I buy is off Amazon, and then my wife will buy off Amazon, and then like a Japanese version of Amazon. I don't remember exactly what it is, but so it's like we have points associated with that, but it's very like focused. Yeah. So I don't think we're the typical household.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's it's just you have like this obsession with points, and it's funny because when my sister was here, just a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
She when she visited me and we walked around. So where I live in a new town, right? I live in a bedroom community, whatever you want to call it. Where there are lots of malls.
Yeah.
And they have nice play areas for the kids that you can use for free. So we go to the malls a lot. I remember my sister Alex was saying, yeah, you guys go to like malls a lot. Your life really kind of centers around malls, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And then she said later on another day, she said, man, Japan's really got materialism kind of down pat. You know, there's ads for everything, so much stuff about money, saving points and buying cheap stuff. Consumerism. It was consumerism.
Yeah.
Like Japan's got consumerism down pat compared to like the United States, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with that. I would say like Japan has perfected consumerism.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Yeah.
Like everything is monetized, everything is advertised here, and they're very, very effective at it.
Yeah. Yeah. When I first got here, the thing that really shocked me was when you go on the trains, just the sheer number of advertisements, at least in Tokyo, right?
Yeah.
You have, of course, so like in Seattle on the buses and on the trains, you have the advertisements in the corners up there, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Now there are TVs on like the main lines in Tokyo, you know?
Yeah.
But they also have them on the walls.
Yeah.
They have them on the windows.
Yeah.
And they have them on like the handlebar things that you hold on to.
続きはこちらからご覧ください。または他の会話を見たい場合はぜひ The Austin and Arthur Show をご覧ください。As always, enjoy your English adventures. これからも一緒に世界とつながりましょう。See you in the next video!